It just works. That is the beauty of having a dedicated Windows XP retro gaming PC. It means more time enjoying your games rather than fighting compatibility issues. We cover the hardware, the software, the settings, we have benchmarks, games, and to help you out, resources, download links down below in the video description. A bit of context. I live in Australia, and here on the used market we're seeing a lot of small form factor machines from HP and Dell, like a Dell Optiplex or HP Elite Desk or Desk Pro. And these make fantastic Windows XP retro gaming PCs up to the Haswell generation. So that's the 4000 series of Intel processors. You will have full compatibility. However, they are small form factor machines, so they take only low profile video cards and sound cards, and that can be an issue. It limits your choices. Also, the power supplies are not very strong, so you can't go with really high-end video cards. And for sound cards, there are not many options. Windows XP, a big part of it is EAX sound with Sound Blaster X5 sound cards, and there's not much to choose from with low-profile cards. These workstations, they have more PCI Express lanes, so most of the slots connect directly into the CPU. That means the bandwidth is not shared with other devices like USB or SATA. That means low latency, and you will get really crisp audio without any pops and stutters. The build quality is fantastic, over-engineered. These machines are also very quiet. We will also check out energy efficiency, and in terms of microarchitecture, we will use a CPU from the Broadwell generation. Let's talk about the hardware. The first step is we need to downgrade the specifications. This was my main daily driver. I did all my video editing on this computer. I'm not quite sure what configuration, what hardware I will use going forward. I will keep you up to date in future videos. So let's start with the video card. Inside was a GTX 960. Now this card will work under Windows XP, but it's from a quite late generation with very late drivers. I want to use something a little bit older, and a good choice would be something like this. This is the GTX 750 Ti, very energy efficient and high performance. But I have used this video card before and I wanted to try something different. Recently I picked up this video card from eBay. It's a Dell GT640, has actually got pretty decent specifications. 1 GB of RAM, which is good. Less is more, less issues with compatibility. There are some games, if you have too much VRAM, then the textures will be blurry and other issues. It is also nice and quiet, doesn't need external power. And in terms of the video card, there are so many choices. You can go old school like a GD6600, something like that, or really high end and put in a 980 Ti with some modded drivers. So there are so many choices in terms of the video card. The processor also needs to get replaced. It came with a Xeon 2699 V3. This is an 18-core CPU monster with 45 megabytes of level 3 cache, way too much. And I'm replacing it with a Xeon 2630 V4 from the Broadwell generation. It does have a couple of cores, but we will make some BIOS settings because we don't need hyperthreading and multiple cores under Windows XP. The RAM also needs downgrading. Installed, we had 64 gigabytes of quad-channel DDR4 memory. I pulled out all these memory sticks and I'm installing a single one. The smallest registered ECC memory module I have is 8 gigabytes. It's too much for Windows XP 32-bit, but Windows will just ignore the access capacity. It's not an issue. And for the sound, we're using the Sound Blaster X5 Titanium for PCI Express, a fantastic sound card. And there's one game we will be checking out today where this sound card really excels, and the experience, especially with headphones, is absolutely beautiful. I also swapped out the SSD. There was a 2 terabyte SATA SSD in there, and I'm using another Crucial. This one has 500 gigabytes from the BX100 range. Here we are in the BIOS, and I'm doing the usual, loading the BIOS defaults, and then I'm disabling onboard resources that we don't need. For example, the onboard sound, the Ethernet. I am disabling hyper-threading and I'm also disabling the cores. Why just a single core? Well, during the Windows XP era, dual core was a new thing and some games are just not that happy seeing the second core. They don't know what to do with it. And the reason I want to build a Windows XP machine is it just works. So I don't want to muck around too much with settings. There are some games that have patched dual core support and maybe you get a few more FPS here and there, but this machine is so powerful, it doesn't need that. You will see in the benchmarks. And the focus is gaming, not multitasking, running things in the background like transcoding your MP3 files or something like that. So that's why I think having a single core is the way to go for Windows XP retro gaming. This machine has an optical drive, so installing Windows XP was really easy, straight from a CD. In the BIOS, I configured the hard drive controller to IDE mode. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a way to enable SATA AHCI with the floppy F6 driver method, but I ran out of time. And yeah, so just gonna use the IDE mode for this video. I did find the installation to be quite sluggish, and after Windows installed, just navigating around, there was just something off. So at that point, I'm installing the chipset drivers. I plug in a USB hard drive and it's got the Snappy Driver Installer Origin project on there. It's a beautiful piece of software. It probes the hardware for all the devices and has drivers ready to go. It's like a 30 gigabyte torrent download. I deselect the sound drivers and the video drivers because I will load them later, and then I let it do its thing. And after reboot, yes, the machine is snappy. So some driver was missing to make the computer act so slow. The graphics drivers are next. The NVIDIA 314.07, and here we can see the control panel, full HD resolution, everything is working beautifully. And then next are the Daniel K X5 support drivers version 5. I will play with headphones, so you need to go into the control panel, change the speaker configuration to headphones, and also make sure that CMSS 3D for headphones is activated. Let's run some benchmarks. 3D Mark 2001 SE, we're getting over 50K. In 03, we're getting just under 40,000. And in 05, we're getting, around 20,000. And here we have some gaming benchmarks, checking out the resolution scaling. Far Cry is next. Everything is maxed out, ultra details with EAX audio, and across all the resolutions, we're getting 170 FPS. So here, the CPU is actually holding things back. In Doom 3, we can see a similar graph in the 1600 by 1200 resolution. A slight weakness, only 152 FPS, but look, absolutely outstanding, silky smooth experience. Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, over 200 FPS across all the resolutions. What else do you want? This is Fear, one of the more demanding Windows XP era titles. We're getting 158 FPS at 1600 by 1200. This is without soft shadows. Here we have the results with soft shadows, which makes it more demanding. And at 1600 by 1200, we're still getting 97 FPS. So here in this game, if you want more, well, instead of a GD640, get a 650 or a 660. So the performance so far is pretty outstanding, but does it run Crysis? Here we have the game running, and remember, this is Windows XP 32-bit, so the game runs in 32-bit with the DirectX 9 render path. That means we don't get the very high details, and the performance is fine. This is running at 1080p, and in the beginning of the level, there are the usual some stutters and hiccups, but that's just how Crysis is. It's quite unoptimized, but all in all, absolutely, yes, this machine can run Crysis. I also wanted to look into power consumption with a power meter measuring the consumption of the entire computer, sitting idle on the desktop around 48 watts, and in Crysis testing, stressing the CPU and the video card, 96 watts is what the power meter recorded. And now let's play some classic games. I must say, I've been actually looking forward to playing games, and I'm also getting good comments. You seem to be enjoying this new format where I'm spending more time playing the games and sharing my experiences. And yeah, I'm surprised. I'm actually really enjoying life at the moment, playing these games. I'm having a good time. So we're back playing Max Payne, and I got amazing tips from you. In the past, I struggled with the difficulty, and yeah, you gave me some hints. So the first one is you need to save frequently. So F9 is quick load, F5 is quick save, and basically I do a quick save almost every time I get around a corner because you don't know what happens. I also got a good tip about remapping the bullet time keys to the mouse. So by default, when you click the right mouse button, it jumps and activates bullet time at the same time. And that can be really awkward. Sometimes you just want to walk normally, but slow down the time and shoot. So I remapped my buttons to have the right mouse button just bullet time, and then another side button on the mouse to toggle bullet time and jumping at the same time. But you can just jump with the space key. I had some issues running out of health. So now I'm checking all the lockers and all the cabinets and drawers for health packs. And yeah, just saving frequently, and sometimes if I lose too much health, I just do a quick load, try again. I did run into a few situations where the difficulty is just really hard and you have to like load and repeat 10 times over. But then suddenly everything falls into place and you just come away with minimal damage. Yeah, it's quite inconsistent, but that's how many games were back in the day. And you do get a sense of achievement, accomplishment when you get yourself out of such a sticky situation. I played with headphones today, and I'm not sure if this game supports EAX. It's not really mentioned on some of the EAX supported lists of games out there, but the positional audio definitely works, and the game has a really nice atmosphere. With headphones, you just hear more detail than through speakers. For example, in the hotel, you can hear some really faint voices, background noise, like you would have in a hotel. And it just gives you that extra sense of immersion. And I also like the interactivity. You can turn on tabs, flush the toilets, toggle the TVs, smash windows. So yeah, it's a really fun game. The NVIDIA drivers we're using in this video, it supports creating a custom resolution. I think playing in 4:3 is the way to go. I don't like widescreen patches. I want my old aspect ratio from the old days. Even on a widescreen monitor, I'm happily playing with the black bars on the side. So in the NVIDIA driver, you can create a 1440 by 1080 resolution. That's 4:3 on a 1080p screen. And Max Payne supports the resolution out of the box. You can choose it at the beginning after launching the game. I max out all the details and also set the audio quality to high, and the game looks absolutely stunning, I think. All in all, this game is fantastic. Thank you so much for giving me some hints and motivating me to continue playing the game. Also, the save game for this one is located in my document, so be careful when reformatting your machine. I fell into that trap, but it meant I can start from the beginning with new tips, and didn't take me long to get to the point where I stopped playing the last time. So all in all, a big thumbs up to Max Payne. It's a fantastic game. And here we have Prey. Where did this game come from? Now, I vaguely remember playing the demo, maybe back in the day, but never played the full game, and OMG, this game is awesome. If you enjoyed Doom 3 or games like Fear or System Shock 2, Prey will be right up your alley. And yeah, let's start talking about it. The game launched in 2006 and it was developed by Human Head Studios. And they have a bit of a background. I like to go on Wikipedia and look at the history. They founded the company in 1997 by former members from Raven Software. And one of their earliest games was Rune from the year 2000. Now, Rune I know really well. You can also pick it up from GOG, and if you go to the extras section for the downloads, you will find Rune Classic, and that game supports the Glide API. So it's a game I really love testing. I haven't played it for quite some time, so maybe if we do another Windows 98 project in the future, yeah, maybe I'll check out that one. This game really blew me away. I didn't know what to expect in the beginning, and well, let's talk about the audio first. This is an interesting game. It supports EAX version 4 and 5. And Creative actually used this game as a showcase to showcase their technology. They wrote an article and they go into all the aspects of what this game can do. Supporting OpenAL and doing all the processing in hardware, things like panning and calculating the positions in 3D space, as well as applying reverb. It supports occlusions and obstructions. For example, sounds are nicely muffled if they are behind another door or on the other side of a portal. It also supports XRAM. Now, this sound card doesn't have XRAM. What it does is, in the beginning of a level, it will decompress all the audio assets and save it in the XRAM of the sound card. That means with period correct computers where the processing power wasn't that great, it will give you better performance. On this machine, I don't think there's much of a difference because it's so powerful as it is. Playing this game with headphones, it's an absolute amazing experience. The positional audio is terrific. And make sure it's set to headphones in the control panel and you have enabled CMSS 3D for headphones. You will be in for a treat. And yeah, it's something you need to experience. I have recordings, but it's really something you need to experience and play. It really puts you into the game, and I had an absolute blast. It's an FPS game, and in the beginning you start in a bar, but then aliens abduct you, and I still don't know what really is going on, but can't wait to play more. I picked up some weapons. At first you just have like a tool to whack some of those creatures, but later you steal some of the weapons from your enemies, and it has some interesting physics. There are these footways that are sort of magnetic, and then you can go upside down. So yeah, really interesting concept, and the graphics are well done, but really it's the audio, in my opinion, that adds the special sauce to this game. Big issue with, where can you get this game? I bought it on Steam. I can still download it, but it has been removed. So I think you might have to source this on the used market by buying a retail disc. Now, Steam, again, not supported under Windows XP. The workaround is really easy. You can get a DRM-free executable from the latest patch, version 1.4. And then the game works offline without having to talk to the Steam server. So, big thumbs up for Prey. If you see this game out in the wild, buy it. It is definitely worth checking out, and I can't wait to continue playing this awesome game. So, what are my thoughts about this computer? Well, the performance is stellar. And Windows XP covers such a wide range of hardware and software. It's really up to you what you make with such a machine. Start with the video card. You can use something really old school, a 6600 GT, have some old video drivers. Maybe you have a game that is incompatible with newer video cards, or you can put in a 980 Ti, shoot for the skies, and get some really 4K, high resolution, excellent performance out of that machine. So the flexibility is fantastic. We get the benefit of using full height cards. That will give you more choices with the graphics card. For example, with the low profile video cards, there are not too many options out there, and prices can be on the high side, especially if you're looking for a 750 Ti. Whereas with the full height versions, a 750 Ti is not hard to find, and you can get a 640, a 650, a 550. There are so many options for you. EAX is absolutely beautiful and one of the highlights of Windows XP retro gaming, so I think it's a must. So again, we have more options. being compatible with full height cards, we can use so many different audio cards, and the X5 Titanium for PCI Express gets my pick. But if you find a model from the Fatality range with the X RAM, even better, go for one of those. Officially, the machine doesn't support Windows XP, but that doesn't stop us. I wanted to try the Broadwell generation of CPUs because in recent projects I stopped at Haswell. So yeah, Broadwell also seems to work just fine. In the BIOS settings, disable hyperthreading, disable cores, so you only have a single core, and also disable any onboard resources that you don't need. Use ID mode for the SATA controller and you're good to go. Snappy Driver Installer Origin takes care of the drivers, and the drivers for the sound and the graphics, you can still get them from Creative and from NVIDIA. Although for the sound card, I like to use the Daniel K drivers. So this is another option for you, and I'm not advising you to rush out and telling you to build this computer. And I'm not saying this is the best option. It depends on the market. And what I like is, instead of throwing these machines away, we can give them a second life, use them for retro gaming. And especially here in Australia, I see more and more used workstations appear on the used market. For modern tasks, they're getting a little bit old, and the main issue is single-threaded performance. The cores are really weak. Compared to the latest generation of Intel and AMD CPUs, they are really, really slow. They have a ton of cores, so they can still hang in there in multi-threaded tasks. But again, if you've got something from the latest generation, it will just totally wipe the floor with such a machine. So I feel prices are on the way down, and yeah, let's give them another life, repurpose them for Windows XP retro gaming. So all in all, the HP Z440 gets a big thumbs up for Windows XP retro gaming. Terrific machine. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I had a lot of fun, especially playing those games, Max Payne and Prey. And I like working with these OEM machines. They are reliable, solid, quiet, well documented. It ticks a lot of boxes that personally resonate with me. And yeah, I want to hear from you. What is your thinking about using old workstations for Windows XP retro gaming? Share your thoughts down below. You will find resources also down below, download links to some of the resources I mentioned in the video. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you soon with another one.